Hello again, everyone. I am Lucas Berry, and you're watching Train Time on the New River Network. We're talking about one of my favorite railroads this week, the Western Maryland Railway. And the reason we're doing that is because CSX's homage to the railroad, number 1852, has been running around here in southern West Virginia for the better part of 3 weeks. And naturally, that means I went out for it, and I got it a couple times, and, well, now we get to talk about it. I really do like talking about the Western Maryland, though. This is one of my favorite railroads ever. It really was. The Western Maryland was a proud railroad. It was a very proud railroad that, for most of it, actually all of its life, it lived in the shadow of Baltimore and Ohio. But it made a name for itself by providing great service, keeping its engines in great mechanical shape, and it kept a really proud image. It washed a lot of its equipment. In fact, it even washed some of its coal cars, which was almost unheard of. So the Western Maryland really was one of those railroads that deserves to be remembered, and it deserves to be talked about. And that's what we're going to do here in this episode. So come on along as we learn all about what I like to call the Wild Mary, the Western Maryland Railway. The Western Maryland is one of my favorite railroads because on the same road you could see a heavy coal drag and a fast freight. WM, or as I like calling it, the Wild Mary, had a line from Baltimore with a split coming at Cumberland, Maryland, with a line into the West Virginia coal fields towards Elkins and Webster Springs, and what was known as the Connellsville Extension running to Connellsville, Pennsylvania. Thanks to that extension, the Western Maryland had an outlet to the west and was part of the Alphabet Route. The Alphabet Route was a collection of smaller railroads that collaborated to move freight and provide competitions to lines like the Baltimore and Ohio and Pennsylvania that could ship over one line from the Midwest to the East Coast. The Alphabet Route consisted of the following roads from west to east: the Nickel Plate Road from Chicago and St. Louis to Bellevue, Ohio, the Wheeling and Lake Erie from Toledo and Bellevue to Pittsburgh Junction, Ohio, the Pittsburgh and West Virginia from Pittsburgh Junction to Connellsville, Pennsylvania, the Western Maryland from Connellsville to Baltimore and Shippensburg, Pennsylvania, the Reading Company to Philadelphia and Allentown, Pennsylvania, the Central Railroad of New Jersey from Allentown to Jersey City, New Jersey, the Lehigh and Hudson River Railway to Maybrook, New York, and the New Haven from Maybrook to Providence, Rhode Island, and Boston, Massachusetts. You might think an arrangement like this wouldn't work with several railroads handling a train instead of one, but the Alpha Jets, what the high-priority trains were called, were not to be messed with and worked out very well until various roads that were a part of the route were merged into other ones and traffic patterns changed. Even though CSX painted a unit honoring the Western Maryland, the fact is they don't use much of the line today. Most of it was deemed surplus by the Chessie system, who already had the parallel Baltimore and Ohio line, and with the B&O being double-tracked, it could easily take your traffic from the Western Maryland side, as opposed to the Western Maryland line, which was only single-track. While CSX may not use much of the Western Maryland, you yourself can take a ride on parts of the old road. The Western Maryland Scenic Railroad departs Cumberland for Frostburg, Maryland on parts of the Connellsville Extension, and here in West Virginia, the Durbin and Greenbrier Valley Railroad operates a Tigard Flyer out of Elkins on former Western Maryland track. I recommend this trip, and Cumberland is definitely on the to-do list. Additionally, if you ride to Durbin, West Virginia from Cass, you pass the connection the Western Maryland had to the C&O here in Durbin. In late August 2025, word got out the Wild Mary was leading westbound Manifest M652 out of Rocky Mount, North Carolina, bound for Cincinnati, Ohio. I went to Thurman to catch it, and while it was a CSX train on the old Chesapeake in Ohio, it wasn't hard to imagine this as a westbound Alpha Jet blasting through for points west. Western Maryland was also a big coal road. With this in mind, I wanted a shot of the engine in coal service, and I got that chance a couple weeks later in September as the engine was third out on E126, which came out of Newport News with 220 empties being pulled by 4 locomotives. The leader of E126 was notable too. CSX number 5 is the lowest number left on the active roster, and its time on the roster with that number is short, as the engine is soon to be rebuilt and will get a new number with that. Also, just a clarification, number 5 is an AC 4400 CW built in 1994, and in the previous episode I had said the AC 44s were the first engine on the CSX roster to feature the Y-cab design that became so prominent and the standard on American railroads. I didn't catch it at first, but that is not correct. The first to have that were the General Electric Dash 8Ws that were built a few years before the AC-44s. It's a small thing, yes, but I strive to get things right, and if I'm wrong, I'm not too afraid to admit it. I am human after all. Now, on to E126. This is going to be a very long shot. In fact, it'll probably take up most of the rest of the episode. Why? Because trains crossing the New River here have to take a very sharp turn to go on or off the bridge at Hawks Nest. And they have to take that turn at 10 miles an hour for the whole train. And that takes a while if you're dragging 220 cars behind you.
That's 5 West Walden clear 408.9-1.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the program, I invite you to like our Facebook page so you can check out episodes as they air. You can also go back and watch past episodes, or the live one if you really want to, on YouTube. You can check us out at watchnrn.com, on our Roku channel, and on cable here in Fayette County, channel Home on the Plateau, channel 17 down in the valley. So, for the New River Network, I'm Lucas Berry, reminding you that any time is train time.